And hello, SFL. It's Guy here, your boy, with our good old friend Will.
What's up, SFL? Ready for another week?
Let's get right into it, Will. We're going to start with these waivers here that just went through. Uh, the big one being obviously Jaleel McLaughlin. Victor grabbed him for the nice number. And D Haas at second bid at 42. Well, how do you feel about this one?
It's one of those things where if I had the money, I'd probably put some in for him just because it seems like he's going to be the guy going forward. But at the same time, that's a lot. So it's a lot of money,
It's a lot of
and
dosh.
and well, and they haven't said if Javante's not going to play. It seems like he did get a serious injury, so it's not like you're talking about Ford, over
Yeah,
in Cleveland. So that's the only thing I would say that he might have overpaid for. But you're talking to somebody that paid $80 for Joshua Palmer, and so I'm not gonna hate on anybody.
right. And, I'm not too sure how I feel about this one. Because I feel kind of like it's one of those gambles. It could go either way. Like $69 is a lot, and it won't seem like a lot if he turns out to be actually the starting running back. But the way I look at it is the guy got 7 carries. He took one for a very long, like one big play. So his numbers look inflated, which make you think, oh yeah, this guy's gonna be good, right? Like because of that one big play. It's like a very small sample size, 7 carries. He got 70 yards on those seven because of a big play. So that's kind of the way that I look at it, personally myself. So I don't know if it works out, it works out. I didn't put a bid on it because I didn't really think too much about it. Let's go ahead and just go quickly. I don't think there are any more big waivers here for last week. We
Yeah,
had that
Braxton
one.
Berrios went
Yeah,
to Gary for $11. That wasn't crazy, but he needs wide
Mitch
receiver help.
Mitch Trubisky, $15.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure Jordan needed a starter at quarterback this week, like both
Yes.
you and I both do.
Well,
Um,
actually, I went for him too in that same bid, but I was gonna pay crazy amount of money for it. But if I got him, great.
yeah. Um, Braxton Berrios for 11, and then you got Samuel for only 5. I'm surprised you're the only one that bid on that one, to be honest.
I was too. I mean, I obviously it's another one of those. I'd love to have him if I could, and
Hmm.
it's really for in a couple weeks. I have a bunch of receivers on week 7, so it's really just preparing for that and having him as a safety.
Yeah, and the rest of the activity was just
Hmm.
people grabbing their backups and streaming kickers, just switching their
Yeah,
kickers around for the week.
and I think that Audie's just feeling like Atlanta's about to make a switch there with
Yeah,
Taylor Heineke already.
yeah.
Listen, I don't think they're making a switch anytime soon. I mean, he's won what 2 games, right? They've won 2 games already with him. I
Hmm.
don't think they thought they'd be 2-2 right now. So you know, go. I'd say they're going to keep him
I
for
I
at
think
least
they
another week.
won 2 games, and despite him, you know,
Hmm.
like it's not they won 2 games because of him. It was kind of like they had to drag his ass into those 2 wins.
Hmm.
That's how
I
I feel.
gotcha.
Um, so we had two trades to go over. You had a trade last week, but it didn't make it on the pod. It was Chris Godwin. Um, you stripped away Joshua Palmer and Jeff Wilson over for him.
Yes. Well,
Uh,
this is a trade that started in week 1. We've been going back and
oh
forth
yeah.
since week 1 because I really wanted Chris Godwin. I feel like he's got the upside, and I didn't care really about obviously the injury to Mike Evans doesn't look like it's too severe. It's small hamstring. Hopefully it's really bad, but if it's not bad like it is, I've got the quarterback. It's a small stack. That's what I was looking for this entire time, and if Mike Evans gets traded, which I don't think he will now, but that's what the thought process was in week 1, and he really wanted Jeff Wilson. Like he was like chomping the bit for Jeff Wilson, but we just could never make the trade happen. And finally, that $80 of Fab, I'll take it. I'll take it off my wire just to get Joshua Palmer to him, and that's fine by me.
Hey, I think you got a good one on this one. Especially Mike Evans is always like banged up and dinged up here and there, and I feel like Chris Godwin has been underplaying his talent for the start of the year. And obviously,
Hmm.
immediately once the trade goes through, Chris Godwin has his first 24-point game, 20 plus game.
Yes.
So, good on you. The other trade that happened was I got Tyler Higbee, and I shipped over Rasheed Rice to the Haas. The Haas had got Kelsey. He felt like he didn't need his tight end, his second tight end anymore. And I guess he came to me. He knew I needed a tight end, uh, and he really must be feeling pretty high on Rasheed Rice and his future over on there with the Kansas City Chiefs. So yeah, we made that trade real quick. There wasn't a lot of talk there. It was just the offer, and I'm like, that's a good offer, and I accepted it.
Nice.
Works for me. It should hopefully work for him as well. On his side, I feel like it's more of a gamble, but not really that much of a gamble. He has Kelsey, so he's never going to play Higbee anyway.
Yeah.
This must have been the best value he felt he could have gotten, and obviously, the thing that I always say about this league too is like if you think a player is overpowered right coming into the draft season, you can change that because you can bid whatever you think his appropriate value is. If you think a trade is unfair, and you can change that as well. You can send a better trade offer, and obviously nobody sent a better trade offer for any of these trades. So yeah, that's what I really like about this league. I really like the 24-hour rule and everything. I think it's great. Let's just go ahead and hop right on over to the scores for last week. Why don't you kick us off?
Sure. So, first game I want to look at is the Holden and Kyle matchup. With Holden and Kyle, it was a beatdown of 206 to 161. Kyle had 14 touchdowns.
What?
It was crazy. He had seven from, if I'm calculating right, let me do it again. I got 7,
12.
9,
12.
10, 12. Oh gosh, I can't count. Well, there you go. 12. 12 touchdowns still. He had 12 touchdowns, 7 from his quarterbacks, which
Whew.
is just incredible. And we all knew that. His quarterbacks are his team, 100%. And so having T. Higgins even get hurt wasn't a big deal. Having 2 points from his kicker, not even a big deal. It's funny that his quarterback gets 41 points and the same kicker only gets 2 because they go for 2 so many times in that game. So he kind of
Yeah,
got
that's
screwed on
rough.
that
That is
perspective.
rough.
But Holden's team is just if Tua doesn't have a great game, then he's screwed every single week because Waddle had a better game than he's had because he's back. Um, I don't know what Philly's doing in the tight end position. They're just not throwing the tight end at all this year. And then you've got his wide receivers are just bad. He's got 3 starting wide receivers right now that are number ones on their team, I would say. 2 of them were number ones, but they just aren't great offenses. I mean, Indianapolis runs the ball with Richardson. That's what they do. He runs and he doesn't throw a lot. So it's unfortunate for him, but at least Henry gave him a game. I just
About
don't
time.
see much coming from him, and to have Zach Wilson and Howe on the bench that score 30 points. I mean, you're not starting those two over those two, but just that 60 points would have, definitely helped him possibly even win this week.
And like he just refuses to trade those guys too, which
Yeah. Well, unless he wants $1 billion for it, and it's stupid.
yeah, it's like nobody's gonna trade for those guys. Like you everyone has most players have 3 quarterbacks on their team. So they don't need your shitty third quarterback, right?
Hmm.
Like the only reason why people want those shitty third quarterbacks is for fill in on bye weeks. Like nobody's gonna pay what you want. I don't know what he's doing. I'm gonna go ahead and go on over to the next game here, Campbell Soup versus Spreading Disease, and man, what a beatdown! We had 219 for Campbell Soup versus 114 for Spreading the Disease. Ariel got himself 9 touchdowns versus Victor's only got 3. And Ariel had just a weird game. Most of his team was either man or just outright bad. Like Mac Jones with 0 points, Connor only 7, Bourne 7, Waller 5. But he still got 220 points because he had players just absolutely going off, like Josh Allen 50, Collins 40, Um, and on the other side is just like the very bottom of the trash dump was Victor. He's now 1-3. Only game he won was against me, so it feels terrible on my side. Uh, you can see that the big problem for him was the Green Bay game. Aaron Jones only 2 points, Jordan Love only 24. The rest of his team was absolute garbage. He didn't score many touchdowns. It's just a real bad. His best player was his kicker, Tyler Bass, for 29. How often does that happen?
Yeah, I mean, and he hit 2 monster, and in that game too, it was a blowout to have that many points as far as like field goals, and he had long field goals too at the end of the game to bump his score up. But yeah, it was never close, that's for sure.
All right, what game are we going to next, Will?
Let's go to Dylan and Kim. That was the game of the week, as you
Game
stated
of the week.
last time, which was another dud. Because Kim's team just fell on its face, 100%. I think that with injuries and very lack of a bench, it's going to be tough for Kim going forward. Cousins didn't have a good game, which he's been having great games every week.
Yeah. That's who carries her team. It's that Cousins Hawkinson stack has been just absolutely carrying her team.
And with McPherson getting only 3 points, I can't depend on Nelson Aguilar to get more than 10 points every week, and Chuba Hubbard getting more than 10 points. So, she's in trouble when it comes to those kind of people. But, like you said, if Cousins and, Goff and Brown go off, then she's dangerous week after week. So this might have been just a blip, but a little bit of a concern for her going forward. And then you look at Dylan. Dylan had 8 touchdowns to Kim's 5. His team's just solid. They're solid all the way through. Debo had a really weird game. He'd been hurt all week. So, but 1 catch, and people like I can't Ray McLeod was getting all the catches, and of course my man Christian McCaffrey was just balling all game. So they just had a different game plan. They stuck to it, and he wasn't a part of it. But we always said something about Puka. I said it. I was like, I think that's a lot of money for Puka. That money was worth spent. He's gonna get at least
way
20
more
points.
Way more than well spent.
He's gonna get 20 points a week at least. I mean, obviously he had a 40-week game, which is huge. But going forward, he's gonna be at that 20-point mark every week. So big ups for him. And then, CJ Stroud is just going off in Houston.
He's so good.
And it looks weird because you just you want to bet against them every single week. It's like they can't keep doing this. Houston can't keep winning, and they keep doing it. So big week for both his team, and a crappy week for Kim.
All right, who we got next here? I am going to go ahead and go with your game. We got Big Truck Little Willie versus erectile dysfunction with a lollipop. We had another just blowout game, and boy, it's kind of not Jordan's fault that this was a blowout. You blew up. You had 11 touchdowns, Jordan with only 4. It looked like you were going to break records until Geno Smith went out with the injury on that Monday night. Christian McCaffrey, like you were talking about earlier, 60 points. And on the other side, Jordan had Watson. Do you know what happened there? Because I feel like he got pulled out at the last hour. He was going to start.
Yeah, so they had said he was a game time decision, and Jordan, I actually texted with Jordan. Jordan said he was at work. And so he found out like last minute and had no time to change it. It didn't really matter because let's say, like, granted, Montgomery had already played. That was his big loss. Was he didn't play Montgomery. Montgomery already played, so he was either going to go with a tight end or McKinnon, probably would have gone McKinnon, let's say, and he got 1 point.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So we talked about it, me and him. It's like it didn't matter who you played this week. I was gonna win
Yeah,
because of Christian.
I love that your optimum is 290 points too. Like what?
I know.
What? Yeah, but there was something that Jordan could have done. He could have started Montgomery. Even you could have told him to start whoever you like. Redo your bench after all this. It wouldn't matter. You win no matter what. It's absolute insanity. What game are we going to next?
I'm going to your game. Tough game for the guillotine. We see you had 6 touchdowns to Robert's 5, so you had more touchdowns than him, but really just underperformed at your running back. With and I can tell you that on other leagues I started Johnson in a lot of my leagues. I thought this was the week.
Me too.
He was going to have the week, and Herbert again had the ball more often, so that sucked. And then Musgrave getting hurt in the first couple minutes of the game, there's your 1 point. As you said, you can never start the right tight end, and good thing is you don't have to worry about it anymore. You've got the tight end you're going to start, and you're not going to worry
I'm still going to fuck it up. I'm telling you. I got Zach Ertz and Higbee, and I'm going to mess those two up somehow.
Listen, I don't think you're going to see Joshua Dobbs going off again this week, but you never know. I hope he does because he's my only quarterback this week, so let's hope for that. But you kind of got screwed that Justin Fields, who had done nothing for 4 weeks or 3 weeks, decides he's just going to go off. So he had a good week. You take Justin Fields and put him at his 20 points or 18 points, you win, kind of thing. But you can say that both of you kind of sucked this week.
Yeah, we did.
And you were lucky and Robert was lucky that you were worse than he was.
Yeah, he could have started some different players and had more points, but just both of us sucked. It was just a shit game between the two shit teams in the league. Let's be honest. I'm gonna go ahead and finish my starts here with D Haas versus House of Priapism. So D Haas had 5 touchdowns. Gary only had 2. And honestly, I feel like D Haas was lucky to have played Gary this week because he left a lot of points on his bench. It felt like most of his starts that he picked this week were just wrong. He just had a lot of points here on the bench. Herbert, Brown, Wilson, just a lot of points there. Had he played somebody that scored more points, and he would have been kicking himself that he didn't start the right guy. So, and on the other side, Gary just had a rough game in general. Only 11 points from Daniel Jones on that rough Monday night game. When we were talking about when we were watching that game, the Tampa and the Saints game was a rough one for him too. Mike Evans got hurt pretty early, so he left the game only with 9 points. Chris Olave got absolutely shut down by the defense, only got 1 point. And he had players that went off on his bench and he could have won if he played them, but I don't think anybody would have started those guys. Like, you're not going to start Cole Kmet over Kittle, are you?
No.
I don't know.
No.
I don't think anybody is starting
especially
Pacheco.
After Fields' games. Fields hasn't shown he's whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, Cole Kmet is his best receiver. I mean, other than DJ Moore, but I'm saying Cole Kmet has always been his safety net the last couple of years. So yes, but at the same time, no, you're not starting him against Kittle. We're an Arizona team we thought were soft. We thought they were going to beat him pretty good.
Yeah, it's just a weird game. You're not going to start Pacheco over Mixon, probably. Mixon or Etienne. I don't think anybody's starting. So, I don't blame Gary here for underperforming by not choosing the right guys. But I do say, Gary, you got a lot of running backs, man. There are a lot of teams in the league that need some running backs. Me being one of them. Hello, hi, how you doing? Let's talk some trades. You could use one of those dudes. Do you have another game? Elderly Gangbang versus Constant Diarrhea? Have we done that one yet?
Yeah, we did that first one. That
was the first one.
I went first.
We are
into next week. What do you think about next week?
Next week, I got my game of the week is going to be the question. Is Big Truck Little Willie a real team? Started 0-2. 1-2 in a row now, right?
Yeah.
The truck made a U-turn on the highway. and he's coming in fast. And
Well,
we got a bus full of little Viking children coming head on straight at you. It's a game of chicken. All right,
well,
which driver is gonna take their big truck and keep on going straight, and which one is gonna go off the road?
well, I wish that this would be a better game for me because both of my quarterbacks have a bye this week. Both.
Yeah.
And I just have Dobbs. I tried to get another
Hmm.
quarterback. I tried real hard, but I didn't get it. And of course, the trade that I just made, which is a good trade for the future, he's also got a bye week this week. So, lost Joshua Palmer, who's going to be my guy
Yep.
to do that. So, um, that's why I has Samuel possibly play him this week, possibly not. I don't know. We're trying to figure it out, but the team right now is, like you said, it is a proven game for me. It's a huge proven game, but I don't feel like I'm going to win this week just because I got a lot of some things that I'm worried about. But he is having to start, Latavius Murray because he doesn't have another running back.
Yep.
So that's going to help.
His running
That
backs
might
are on bye.
Yeah, that might kind of block that out. So I'm really saying Christian McCaffrey versus CJ Stroud is basically how I'm looking at it. But we'll see. We will see. I agree with you that this is a game. If I win this week, it shows something, 100%. And I'm excited about D game because obviously they're both 3-1, but both underperformed last week. Is it going to be a week that Kim, shows that she's the better team, or is D Haas the better team? I think D Haas still right now is probably the team to beat by far. If you look at his team and Kyle's team, just because of the quarterback play.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was split between picking that game too, so pretty good that you did. Alrighty, SFL. Anything else you want to talk about, Will?
Nope,
All
nope,
right,
we're good.
SFL. Have a wonderful night, guys. See you.